Recently, the Minecraft 1.21.5 drop, otherwise known as the Spring to Life drop, has been released. I already made a video ranking all of the features within the updates, however, I still have a bit more to talk about. My ranking videos always talk about the game from a survival mode perspective, but that means I often miss out on the creative mode features. Again, sorry Testblock fans. That's pretty important for this drop as it completely overhauled all of the spawn egg textures. Obviously, this is a creative mode exclusive item, but a lot of people were asking me to talk about this change. In fact, a lot of people wanted me to rank all of the new spawn egg textures from the worst to the best, because some are bound to be worse than others, you know. So I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Oh, everyone did that already. Well, what makes my take on this concept special is that my opinions are the most correct. Seriously though, shoutouts to all the other people who already did this ranking. If you disagree with me, I guess you can go watch one of them instead. But anyway, how am I going to be ranking these? Well, it's obviously purely based on aesthetics. Do I like how it looks? Do I think the egg is creative? And does it convey what mob it's supposed to be well? These textures are also, like I said, quite new, so I'm still getting used to them. I mean, the previous spawn egg textures are older than half of you watching, so it's gonna take me a bit of time. But overall, I think I do like the change. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. For this ranking here, we're also going to be separating the eggs into a tier list. Obviously, the ranking is still going to be numbered, but I thought this would be helpful since a lot of the eggs are pretty similar quality-wise. Starting off with our F tier, we got a trilogy of eggs that I think do a terrible job showcasing what mob they're supposed to be. I mean, let's just slide them on screen here. From a distance, it's pretty hard to tell them apart. They don't even do a great job showing what mob they're supposed to be. These eggs are 81 the skeleton horse, 80 the skeleton, and 79 the ghast. I'm not fully sure what they should have done instead, but these eggs are just not great. These are probably the three most similar eggs to one another in the entire game, and that's really their downfall here. Oh, and also, hopefully you guys are okay with the background footage being kinda unrelated today. I just wanted to have something moving in the background so this video isn't just 78 the wither skeleton, and 77 the wither. Similar issue here because these two just look too similar to one another. Yes, it makes sense that they would be, but I think it's still too hard to tell them apart. Plus, they don't even do a great job representing their mobs. 76 the dolphin. This is our first water mob, and I really like the little detail their eggs got of having a small pool. It helps make them stand out a bit more, so that did give this guy a little bit of a boost. Unfortunately, the design of this egg doesn't look good. The way the fin sticks out just kinda makes it look a bit gross to me. 75 the squid. We've actually got quite a bit of a water streak here. This is low because it's just kind of hard to tell what this is supposed to be. It's just plain black with a small bit of the mouth showing at the bottom. The perspective on this is also just a bit weird, so I'm not a fan of it. 74 the glow squid. This one is both better and worse than the last one somehow. On a positive note, the color scheme is very unique for the glow squid, so it's pretty obvious what this is supposed to be. Unfortunately, the egg still looks pretty gross to me with all the spots on it. This is probably the best they could have done, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. 73 tropical fish. This one is always going to be hard because the whole point of this mob is that it can come in a number of different colors. The clownfish look makes the most sense for the egg, but I just don't love how it came together. I'm really not sure why they gave the fish eggs fins. I think it would have been better if they just didn't have those. 72 the pufferfish. I don't really like how the spiky bit was done here. It makes sense why they would try for it, but each spike just being 1 pixel makes this texture look really messy to me. 71 the silverfish. This guy has the same problem, but I like this one a bit more because it doesn't have the weird fins that pufferfish had. Probably because the silverfish doesn't have those. 70 the turtle. Here's our final F tier entry, and I just don't think they did the best they could here. They gave the egg legs, which is weird, and the nose feels like an odd aspect to focus on. Personally, I would have preferred if the egg was just textured to look like the turtle shell. Like, honestly, just make it a Mario green shell, and I think this egg would have been better. They add legs to quite a few of these eggs, and I'm just not really a fan of it. Moving on up to our C tier. Yep, it's another no D tier video, sorry. This tier is definitely a step up from the last and just consists of the eggs I don't find to be too interesting. I bet we'll go through this pretty quick. 69 the Ravager. This is the first of our mob eggs to have a massive nose. I think this detail is really funny, and the other eggs with it will appear much later on the list, but I think the Ravager egg is a bit of a mess. It is obvious what this is, but I just think the blue stripes mixed with the horns don't really make it look that nice. 68 the Axolotl. It perfectly shows off what mob it is, I just think it looks a bit whack. I don't know, something about the lines on the egg make it seem a lot less cute than it should be. 67 Cave Spider and 66 Spider. Both of these have the same idea of giving the spawn egg spider legs. This is probably the best thing they could have done to show what these are spawn eggs for, but they definitely look a bit icky. 65 the frog. Similar idea here where they just give the spawn egg legs. It's a lot less gross though, and I quite like the color scheme they went for with it. Just still not a huge fan of the legs. 64 the stray. This is a lot better than the previous skeleton variants, but this does still have quite a few issues. The colors are great, but I think they just try to squeeze too much detail onto this egg. If they made the texture a little less messy, I think I'd like it a lot more. 63 the ocelot. This one is just really plain. The color scheme works well, but the features on the egg just don't stick out that much. Just like the ocelot, it's pretty boring. 62 the wolf. This one hurts because the wolf is one of my favorite mobs, but I can't deny that the egg is pretty weak. It does have its iconic snout, but it just feels a bit weird and out of place. I think maybe the egg itself is just a bit too big. At the very least, it is clear that this is supposed to be a wolf. 61, the creaking. Colors are mostly pretty good, but I don't really love the pale moss sticking off the egg. I mean, some of it should definitely stay, but I think there might have been a bit too much. Also, I don't think the egg needed to be so big. Yeah, the creaking is kind of tall, but he's also pretty skinny, so the fat egg just doesn't fit super well in my opinion. 60, the strider. Yeah, that's about what I'd expect this egg to look like. I don't love the bits hanging off the top, but they kind of had to include that since it's on the strider, so I don't really think this needs to be changed. 59, the rabbit. Yep, that looks like a rabbit. Not much else to say on that. They should make it blue like Bonnie. 58, the armadillo. Yep, that looks like an armadillo. I think at least the color scheme and design is a bit more interesting than the rabbit, but it's still a fairly simple egg. 57, the husk. I wouldn't change anything about this as it nails the color scheme and design of a husk pretty perfectly. The only thing holding this back is the fact that the husk is a very dull color scheme, so the egg couldn't really stand out and be interesting. 56, the LA, and 55, the Vex. Both of these two are very similar, so I'm putting them back to back, even if they shouldn't be. Bring back the old Vex. Well, luckily the design change doesn't really affect the eggs at all. Both of them are blue with wings added on, and I think that works pretty well. I like the color of the LA egg more, but the angry eyebrows of the Vex gives it the edge for me. 54 cod and 53 salmon. Here we have our two remaining fish, and I think they did a better job than the other two. The color scheme works a lot better on both of these guys, especially the salmon. I still don't love the added fins, but on these two it does work a smidge better. 52 the hoglin and 51 the zoglin. Obviously these two had to be back to back, and I think they nailed the shape here. It's maybe a bit too detailed, but overall I think they're good. 50 the tadpole. Ending off our C tier, we have another water egg. The thing I like about this is the fact that it's just straight up a tadpole. Like, it's not only got the tail, but the eyes as well. There's only a couple other spawn eggs that get eyes, so it's pretty interesting to see this one have them. I also just find it funny that the tadpole has a spawn egg, unlike all the other baby mobs. And now we're up to the B tier. We were already seeing it a little bit near the tail end of C tier, but I really don't have much criticism from this point up. Although I do have to get mad at 49, the goat. Not because the egg is wrong or anything, it's just when I got to the end of the ranking, I realized I only had 80 eggs instead of 81 like I should. So I had to go through the entire list to see which one I missed, and it was the goat! The goat! Yeah, so that was mildly annoying, but the goat egg is perfectly fine. Now we've got ourselves a bit of a streak of what I like to call the fat eggs.
Yo mom is so fat!
We've seen a few of these already in the list, but this streak makes the eggs look like a fat version of the animal's face. I think these are funny to look at, so I'm putting them all together here. This will go by pretty quick. 48 the llama and 47 the trader llama. Definitely the least interesting of this group color-wise, but the added bit for the trader llama is nice. 46 the camel. This is just a small improvement over the llama to me. It's a bit less recognizable, but I like the color more. 45 the polar bear. Pretty plain, but easily recognizable. 44 the mule, 43 the horse, and 42 the donkey. All three of these basically had to be back to back as they take pretty similar designs. This is really stupid, but the fact that you can see their mouths on these eggs makes them look extra funny to me. Look, even this horse agrees, it must be true. 41 the ender dragon. This one is really funny, but I'm not letting it win the fat egg streak because it's not in the creative mode menu. I only realized it existed after I started editing, so I had to fix all of the numbers in the video just for this stupid egg. 40 the zombie horse. To end off the fat egg streak, I'm giving it to this poor guy because, I mean, this is all he's got. It does deserve to be the best though, as the color scheme is great, and it has a funny mouth like the other horses. 39 the blaze. All things considered, this is a pretty simple one, but I honestly kind of like it for that. A majority of these spawn eggs have something sticking off the egg, so the fact that this one doesn't is kind of a nice surprise. The color scheme is also great. I've always loved how blazes look. 38 the sheep. This is similar to our last one, but it has a bit more detail to fit with it being a sheep. The face is a great addition, and I actually like the bit at the bottom to break up the white. 37 the pig. This is probably the simplest spawn egg of the bunch, but it works really well for the pig. Just giving it the iconic nose is pretty much all you needed, and from a meta level, it makes sense that the pig would be simple as it was one of the very first mobs added to the game. 36 the cat. I just think this one turned out to be pretty cute. It does kind of suck that we couldn't get all the cat skins represented somehow, but the one they chose fits well. 35 the slime. I love the approach they took with this one, as it really makes it look like the egg itself is slimy. It's oozing out slime and is perfectly gross for the mob. 34 the breeze. This one is great because he looks pissed. The eyebrows were such a good detail to add, on top of the already great color scheme of the mob. 33 the drowned. The color scheme on this one is just fantastic. It really looks like an egg that was left at the bottom of the ocean to mold. The mix of brown, blue, and green sells the look perfectly, and that's great because it's also the drowned's color scheme. The glowing bits are maybe a bit too bright, but I still really like what they did here. 32 the zombie. I mean, this one is exactly what you'd expect, taking the zombie's color scheme and putting it over an egg. The zombies are pretty much the game's most basic enemy, so it having a fairly basic egg I think works pretty well. And I like how if you tweak this one's colors, you basically just get a Steve spawn egg. Wait, no. 31 the phantom. Guys, let's give it up. The phantom didn't do something terrible. Alright, to be fair, the Phantom's design has always been cool, so translating it to an egg was guaranteed to make it at least a little bit cool too. I love how the bony bit on its back covers up the egg, and I also appreciate them not giving this wings. I think some spawn eggs do work well with the wings, but this is a case where it's better without since the Phantom's wings are pretty massive. 30 the panda. This one is just really cute to look at. Even though most eggs don't get eyes, I'm happy they still included the dark circles in the fur here where the eyes would go. The ears were also a great touch, so this ends up looking like a cute baby panda. 29 the magma cube. This is a pretty creative way to take the egg. Whenever the magma magma cube jumps, it splits apart, and that's what this egg is trying to replicate. The lava colors look really nice here. I do think the strips of lava could have maybe been separated a bit more, but as this is, it's a very creative concept for an egg. 28 the Elder Guardian, and 27 the Guardian. Here we have our final two water-based eggs. I just think the design of an egg with spikes works perfectly for them. Like, I could easily see this being what their eggs look like in canon. It also helps that I've always been a fan of both of the Guardian's color schemes, so the normal one is definitely my favorite. Also, I just noticed that the water on both of them are different colors. Why would they do that? Anyway, it's time for our A tier, the eggs that I think look really good. Kicking us off, we have 26 the Endermite. Originally, I had placed this one quite low on the list, but then I used the ancient technique of using my eyes? Yeah, and then I actually thought this one looked pretty great. Love that it's a super tiny egg, and most importantly, I love the color scheme. I've always been a purple fan, and yep, this egg definitely has that. At first, I was a bit mixed on the brighter purple at the bottom since the Endermite doesn't have that, but it grew on me as a neat style choice. Oh, and also, this is another one of the few eggs to have its eye. At least I think that's what it's supposed to be. 25 the Warden. I think the Warden has one of the coolest designs in the game already, so putting it on an egg was destined to be good too. I love that this is mostly an adaptation of its torso, and the dark blue color of the skulk is magnificent. It is maybe a little bit crowded, but overall still great. 24 the Fox. I absolutely love this one. It's easily one of the cutest of the bunch, adapting the orange color scheme of the fox perfectly. It should have an eye patch though for Foxy. 23 Zombified Piglin, 22 the Piglin Brute, and 21 the Piglin. All three of these have a very similar idea, so they had to be together. They're sort of like the Hoglins from earlier, but on a smaller scale, and I think that makes them look a bit better. I also like that these aren't just the pig head, as we can also see bits of the Piglin's clothes at the bottom too. Overall, I think they just nailed the shape of these, and I like that you can even tell the Piglin and the Brute apart with the small details like the scar and the clothes. But now it's time for another big streak, the massive sniffer streak. Every single villager-like mob has their iconic nose on the spawn egg, and I think that's just a hilarious detail. There's absolutely nothing I would change about these at all, so I think each of them deserve to be back to back, except the Ravager. 20 the Zombie Villager. It's the least memorable of this group to me, and it's got the least impressive design of the bunch. 19 the Pillager, and 18 the Vindicator. Obviously, the Illager spawn eggs are going to be fairly similar. The main difference comes with the clothes, and while I do think it may be a bit hard to tell which is which, I think this is about the best they could do. 17 the Iron Golem. Love the added vines to the egg, as the green gives a nice contrast to the white. 16 the Wandering Trader. I really like this one because of how the villager's nose overlaps its hood here. The blue color is also very nice. 15
The Villagers!
Obviously, this is the mob the idea fits best with, as they're the face of this group of characters. It is a bit plain, but that's also the point, as it has to represent a ton of different villager types. 14 the Witch. I just love the little hat added on top of this one. It's so thin, but also perfectly done. I have no notes. The wart on the nose is also a great detail. 13 the Evoker. This guy is the winner of the big sniffer streak, and that's just because I love his color scheme. Black and yellow has always been one of my favorite color combos for some reason. Maybe that's why I want him in everything. But yeah, I think because of the color scheme, the Evoker is definitely my favorite. 12 the Sniffer. I lied about the sniffer streak being over. I just think this was done perfectly. Obviously, it had to have the sniffer of the sniffer, but I also love the green and red color scheme used here too. The texturing on the green bit makes it look more plant-like, and I think that was just perfectly done. 11 the Bat. I like how this sort of mimics a classic sort of bat symbol by having its wings extended. The wings are what makes a bat recognizable, so I'm happy they included them here. Color-wise, this also just looks great too, so I have no complaints. But now it's time for our S tier, which is just made up of my top 10. Quality-wise though, they're pretty much on the same level as the A's. Starting off, we have 10 the Cow and 9 the Mushroom. What I love about these two is the fact that they're very reminiscent of the classic spawn egg texture. Obviously the new ones also have horns, but the spots on each of them are very close to the classic spawn eggs. Happy that its design was able to be maintained, even if only a little bit. 8 the Chicken. First off, I absolutely love that this is the exact same size as a normal egg item. That's a fantastic detail. Secondly, the design is just perfect. Since the egg is so small, the face of the chicken takes up the perfect amount of space here. It's just really cute, and I can't see any good way to improve on this. 7 the Bogged. This one was a surprise hit for me. After seeing how well the other skeletons did, this guy making it all the way up to S tier is pretty surprising. The design of the egg though is just phenomenal. The green color and the mushrooms just make this look like a perfect rotten egg. I also love that the egg itself is a bit more on the gray side here. I think that actually gives us a bit of building application in creative mode, as you could put it on the ground as a sort of messy stone with mushrooms growing on it. On top of just looking great, this is just a perfect representation of the Bogged. There's no mistaking this for anything else. 6 the Parrot. This one is so colorful, I can't help but love it. Of the parrot options, this color scheme was definitely the best one they could have gone with. The added feathers at the top along with the beak were the perfect details to add here as well. Like the Phantom, I'm also very happy this didn't get its wings, as the egg shape looks a lot better here. 5 the Enderman. This is a bit more creative than some of the other takes on spawn eggs we've seen. Instead of just being what the Enderman looks like, this takes its color scheme and makes something really cool looking with it. It's almost like a smaller Ender Dragon egg, and I think that's perfect. The splotchiness of the purple bits also do a great job representing the particle effects, and I think they balance the black and purple of the egg perfectly. Some people may not like that it's not just the Enderman's eyes or something, but I think this approach is really cool. For the bee. I mean, this one looks so cute, I can't help myself. It's so tiny, the bee color scheme looks great, and it's one of the few eggs I think works very well with its wings. It honestly just looks like you're holding a mini bee in your hands, and I think that's perfect. Honestly, if you have a creative mode bee-based build, this could also fit pretty well too. 3. The snow golem. This just being a mini snowman you're carrying around in your pocket is fantastic. I love how the pumpkin looks kinda melty here, and the added stick arms were a perfect fit as well. I think of the spawn eggs, this might be the one that captures the full look of the mob the best. I think they really nailed it. 2. The shulker. This just simply has one of my favorite ideas for all of the eggs. I love that the shell of the egg is the shell of the shulker here. I mean, it's just perfect. I genuinely don't think there's any way they could have made this better. It's one of the few spawn eggs that I think actually feels like it's still an egg. Not that that was a huge criteria or anything, but the fact that the shulker made it work makes me love it even more. 1. The creeper. Yeah, I know, I'm boring and basic, but come on, this one just looks really good. Not only is the creeper color scheme fantastic, but putting the face on the egg was the best decision they could have gone with. The creeper face is one of Minecraft's most iconic symbols, so yeah, it kinda had to be on here. Makes perfect sense for it to be the face of the spawn egg tab as well. Get it, I said face. So for simply having the most iconic and appealing design, I think the creeper egg is easily my favorite spawn egg in Minecraft. But anyways, that's it for this video. Are you mad it didn't include turtle eggs in this list despite them not being spawn eggs? Let me know in the comments. This was a fun mini ranking to make, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Just a warning to the Minecraft viewers, by the way, I might be making a lot more videos on Mario Kart in the near future just because the Switch 2 is coming out soon, but I still have plenty of Minecraft ideas, so don't worry. But before I go, I've got to thank my members, being Trader Mo, Mevins2001, The Chicken Man, Shrugface-Awoo, Maidzio2, Nuclear, Set the Sun Villano, KidTrugs15, Caddy Shroom, Miss J Jalot, Enchanted Skull, Yanni the Duck, SMA, VBager2003, Arson the Raboot, Sir Musty, Belandor, Puggles Are Fun, Diluted Colors, Cinder CC, Jade Avery, Pruncel Clone, Thicky Reiki, Ungidio TM, CW McCain, Tibby, JubeTube Tesseract, Mr. McMahon5702, Hippopotamus, Jameson Pageson, Wilbur, Golden Saint 15, Z Frost, Stuffy Ant, Justex, Concanet Keep, and Christian Flattery Sequel Edition. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.